Well, here we are, folks. Season 1, episode 3. I hope you've enjoyed the first two. So far, it's been a great week getting this podcast up and off the ground. Um, Talked about it since the summer, so nice to actually get some content put together and recorded. Um, I'm going to call today's episode "What the Malt Barley" because we had a "What the Futures" moment that we're going to shed some light on here a little bit later on in the episode. So stay tuned for that. It is, of course, Positive Friday. You're listening to this on Positive Friday, which is my favorite day of the week. And if I were to reflect on this week so far, I would say my positive moment for the week is it's just getting this thing going, getting this podcast out, and getting that early feedback. It's always great connecting with growers and industry folk from across the prairies. And what surprised me is kind of the reach that the show has had so far. So keep it coming if it's across our social media feeds, if it's through the website. Let me know what you're thinking. Episodes will keep coming at you Friday mornings here with consistency now moving forward. And if you want to hear more episodes, let me know. If you want to give your input on direction of the show, I'm up for anything right now. So tune in and connect with us. We do have a contest running until November 12th. I'm just going to hype our own thing here for a second, but if you go to the website, whatthefuturespodcast.ca. You can get your name entered by just putting in your email, and you can enter to win north of $2,000 worth of Milwaukee power tools. Okay, this is in-house contest. We are running this. We are not sponsored by Milwaukee at this time. Man, be sweet if I was, but I have not convinced them quite yet. So still working on that one. But we do have support from our friends of the show, Yak of all trades. They hook us up with our great tools and at great prices and with a great service as well. So today's show, a little bit different when it comes to content, and that's going to be the plan here is just to bring some variety each and every week. But I have a great little discussion that I had with Tower Farms. That is Jacob and Becky Boychuk of Pioneer Seed. So we're going to kick off the show with that. Nathan comes in with a barn burner of a wheat question. And by doing so, he gets his name entered to win a bag of P516L, of course, sponsored by the great folks at Tower Farms. And I'll tell you how to participate in that here a little bit later on as well. But buckle up. We're going to try to throw Nathan's audio in this week's episode. So we'll see how it turns out. Of course, I already talked about the Malt Barley story. We'll get to that. Again, I'm calling it a What the Futures moment because it is a bit of a head scratcher. And I do have, a past of buying grain and consulting. And I've actually heard this story before. It's happened before. And so we'll get to Zoltan joining us. He has a piece of used equipment here, a case hoe that he has for sale. And we're going to have Zoltan join us and give us the details on that piece of equipment. So let's get after it. Let's kick off the show here with a discussion with Tower Farms. And here we go. All righty. I've got with me today Becky and Jacob Boychuk of Pioneer Seeds. I'm excited to have you guys on the show. You guys have been just fantastic here over the first week of the What the Futures podcast as supporters, and I truly, truly appreciate that. So, Jacob, Becky, thank you for joining me. How are you guys doing today?
We're good.
Thank you for having us.
Awesome. I hope that the wind settles down. It's just howling outside the podcast studio here this afternoon, but it's a beautiful day, so I'm not going to complain too much. All right. How about you guys start off with, we've known each other for, oh man, Jacob, I want to say like 12, 14 years, something like that. It's been a little while. Hey.
Yeah, Brian, I think we got to know each other around the time that I um, started our sales agency and started selling the Pioneer brand. I was coming out
Yep.
of university, and I think you were working for Cargill at the time. That would be 12, coming on 12 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember your crop tours, and I think there was one crop tour where I like shouted a market update as people were like getting off and on the bus. So it was good. It was fun. I've done a few of those. Um, all right. How about you guys tell me a little bit about your family and your farm?
Well, me and my wife Becky, we have a mixed farming operation. We still farm with our parents, with my parents. Um, so it's cattle and grain, and then we've been carrying the Pioneer brand, um, supporting the Pioneer brand for about 12 years. Our farm and sales agency name is Tower Farms Ltd. We have two young boys, Mark and Jack, turning 4 and 6 very soon, the end of November and beginning of December. Um, and yeah, me and Becky both work together. We both have uh, um, growers that we work with individually. Becky
Mhm.
covers the Westlock, Clyde, greater area, and I cover Redwater, Smoky Lake, Thorhild, um, Gibbons area, and
Yep.
yeah,
Awesome. One of my favorite things is well, you're raising a couple of little cowboys there, and so Becky keeps us all updated on social media, and those are some of the best videos and updates when I see the cowboys out working with the animals there. So good on you. That's fantastic to see. Um, okay, so life as a pioneer seed rep, and I'll just turn it over to you guys. What do you guys do exactly?
Becky.
So we carry Pioneer canola and corn seed. Like Jacob mentioned, he has an area that he covers, and I have an area that I cover. We are lucky that we have a warehouse here on the farm. So the boys, Mark and Jack, are really hands on with handling the seed over winter and into spring for delivering to customers. So we take seed orders over winter, deliver into spring, then through summer, we host plot tours and grower field days where we service our customers and helping them with any issues that they're having in the field. And then come fall, we do lots of side by sides, bring our weigh wagon out to the field, and then we compare different hybrids in both Jacob's territory and my territory. And then kind of now in the fall, we get all that data together and then present it to our growers with how hybrids performed in the area.
Fantastic. And is there a variety? Going to put you on the spot here a little bit, but a variety that stands out for you from 2023?
I think in the greater Edmonton area, the hybrid that did the best, or not did the best, but really stood out was our new P516L or P516, we'll call it. The reason we're very excited about it is because of the clubroot genetics. In the Pioneer world, we're
Mhm.
calling it a CR6, and because Edmonton was kind of ground zero for clubroot, the disease has progressed a lot more than in other areas which are still learning, you know, how to manage it, and quite frankly, it's just more of an issue because it's been here longer. So we're really excited about that hybrid. It performed well, and I think that would be the one we're the most excited about, right, Beck?
Yeah, yeah. This fall, P516 performed really well in a lot of the trials that we did. And we were happy with the results. Yeah.
And the best thing, I have some friends that have sales agencies in the Peace and in South Central Alberta, and it also performed well in those areas, which is nice to hear that it didn't just do good in one area, because you can have a hybrid that, you know, performs well where they got rain, where they did in different soil zones. Then you have something you can hold on to for a few years.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's great points. I always enjoy seeing the updates from the work that is done through the agencies. You see it. I see it on social media on yields being reported, and for me, I just go to yield times price per bushel and just go to the numbers right away. But I think that's just a great thing that you guys do out there. Um, anything new and exciting for 2024 that you can share with listeners of the podcast, or is everything kind of top secret right now?
We have some new stuff coming potentially, but I would say stay tuned.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your support. It's great to see you guys. And I'm very excited to give away a lot of canola seeds. So those listening, how you can participate, you go to the What the Futures podcast website. That's whatthefuturespodcast.ca. You click the voicemail button, and we actually have a fresh voicemail here from Nathan that we'll get to in this episode. And you get your name entered to win some canola seed from the great folks here at Tower Farms. So thank you so much, and I'll see you guys real soon.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks.
All right, now this is the part of the show where I want to spend a little bit of time going over crop markets, prices, a mixture of ag headlines in there, um, maybe factors impacting your crop prices. I'm going to stay under the assumption that you're getting your ag headlines for the week elsewhere, and that I don't need to spend 10 minutes kind of regurgitating that type of information. But I do like chatting about how some of these headlines are intertwined with your price moves and price direction. And we'll see how it goes here. I'm still kind of workshopping this one a little bit, and we'll see how you guys like it here over the next couple of weeks and months. So let's dive into this week's version. So canola market's finding a little bit of strength here. I know Chuck alluded to that a couple days ago in episode 2, but we are trading the January contract at just over $6.99 as of recording. And we started the week at 692, so a little bit of strength there in the canola market. NOV of 2024 trading up a couple of bucks this week as well. So a quiet optimism continuing on here. Now, I did read that crude oil was having a tough day in the markets, and that this global I shouldn't say global. It was more pinpointed towards economic slowdown in China, from what I read. And we'll have to watch how that impacts canola, if it does have an impact to canola futures here over the next days. But that quiet optimism brewing in the canola market, and I know for myself, I'm still looking at like a number, north of 725 on futures before I would get even just remotely excited about pricing. But time will tell here. We're going to switch now to some spring wheat. I know that we've had a nice day here, up 11 cents, trading at 735. Now, with the exception of seeing some strong demand across the prairies, I didn't pick up a lot here in headlines. I know the Argentine crop was reduced slightly here again in the headlines, and I liked seeing targets trigger in a few different areas. I saw north of $10 in portions of Alberta, $10 along the Alberta-Saskatchewan border there. I'm assuming you're probably a 950-ish in southern Saskatchewan, Saskatoon area, probably a 975, something like that. Don't quote me exactly. I didn't check every location, but we are seeing a little uptick here in wheat. Now I'll get a little bit more excited if we can break above the highs from late in September, and maybe make our way to that 760 to 780, 790 futures level. That would get me quite excited to get some additional business done. But hey, it's going in the right direction. We are seeing demand for Canadian wheat, and it's good. It's all good. September of 2024 up 9 cents as well, trading at 776. Again, if I got an 8 there off that September contract, I'd certainly take a look at maybe getting a bit of business done there for next fall. All right, oats. I got to mention oats because down 10 cents here at 341. Remember, oats knows, or that's what they say, right? That's the old saying, oats knows. Oats having a tough go right now, even though I finally got a bid this week. I get a bid a text every week about oat price, and it's dropped every week for like, I don't know, 6 weeks in a row. And this week it finally held steady. And I was reading some reports from other analysts that are friendly towards oat prices, bullish oats, one even calling it a sleeper crop in 2024. Chuck was certainly optimistic towards the oat markets as well in my chats with him. And so futures are certainly not showing us that, but bids, cash prices across the prairies are. So we'll see. That one's kind of wrestling with itself right now on direction. Soybeans gained 3.5 cents today. They're up 22 cents earlier in the session, and nice to see a little support in oil seeds. Corn values up 7 cents at 4.76, finding a little bit of support in the corn market, which is good for both feed and malt barley. Feed values across the prairies holding steady now, and I'm hearing that malt prices might actually climb a little bit here in the next few months. A few rumors about some eights coming back out in portions of Alberta. We'll see. Time will tell. Lastly, soft white. Again, in portions of central northern Saskatchewan, I was seeing some $9 bids in soft white. If you're a soft white grower, I think that's pretty decent for what's out there. Pardon me. And of course, yellow and green pea bids seem to be holding. So again, I'm going to workshop this session a little bit over the next couple of weeks. I'd love to hear feedback on what you guys want from a price perspective as well. But my goal here is to try to highlight who's got some of the stronger offers out there, and report them back to you as I can. So we'll keep working on it. Now, let's switch gears. Let's get to Nathan's. Here it comes.
With the lack of high quality wheat in the world, where do you see wheat futures, specifically Minneapolis, going over the next 3 to 5 months?
Well, thanks for the question, Nathan. And I probably should phone a friend on this one and actually get a better area over the next couple of days here. But that being said, I look at what we've seen here in wheat futures, and I know that we've had a nice little uptick, and I know that that I mentioned earlier that I get excited if we could get to that 760 to 780 level. I want to be optimistic that we see that here over the next couple of weeks. But the reality is, when it comes to wheat wheat prices in the wintertime, it can be a bit of a slug for price direction. And the Canadian demand thing is great. Australia and Argentina producing smaller crops is supportive as well. But our fate may lie between the war in Ukraine and the escalation or de-escalation of that conflict between Ukraine and Russia. That might be one of the bigger factors. It can get very quiet, and I know people have heard me say this in past life, but marketing wheat in the winter can be extremely frustrating because there's just not a lot going on when it comes to growing a wheat crop in the southern hemisphere. It's quiet out there. So I'd like to give you rainbows and lollipops and say things are going to be in sunshine and say things are going to be great with upside. I hope they are. Fingers crossed. Again, I don't have large goals in front of me. If we bumped up here another 25 cents, I'm probably taking some action on the family farm. But yeah, I hope that answers your question, bud. And you are now entered to win a bag of P516. You and Lynn in the draw so far. All right, so I teased this earlier in the episode in the title where we were going to call this, what the barley and or what the malt barley, I should say. And I have a little bit of a story here to tell, and I want to start off by saying that this isn't to go and berate any company or any individual out there. This isn't to speak in a negative way or a negative light about anybody in particular. If you've met me and know me, I am interested in learning opportunities, and I'm interested in communicating ways for farmers to um, maybe learn something new, or maybe we can shed some light on issues that have happened and how to navigate them. Um, and it's for the better of in my opinion, of the space and the industry. And this story, small barley story, is one that I've actually experienced in the past as well. This isn't the first time, which is why I wanted to bring it up. And I'm not going to name companies. I'm not going to name individuals in this scenario, because the point here at the end of it is, how do we prevent this stuff from happening? Or if it does happen, how can we uh, protect ourselves, and what's our strategies that we can use, and how can we go about this? So the story on this malt barley is that the grower harvests his barley, submits samples to three different companies, and the chit levels come in at 2.5%, 2.8%, and 3.5%. Okay, it's 700 acres of synergy. Uh, he gets a phone call from a company, and they say, "Hey, your barley has met spec for an offer that we have. We're going to give you 775 a bushel. We're going to call you in October to deliver." And what do you think? Farmer says, "Sure, that sounds good to me. Fits his plan," and they're off to the races. Gets the call to deliver, and still combining at the time, so gets a custom crew to come in and haul some barley, and everything's going fine. The malt barley is delivered. Um, Loads come in at 2% chit, 2.5% chit, 3% chit, 4%, 5%, 7% chit, and it all blends to within the spec of the contract. And so farmer has the scale tickets with the delivery specs. It's within the contract, and the company says, "Hey, we're going to send this off to head office for to check the germ, do a recheck, and once we get that back, we'll settle up with you." So that's it for communication. Nothing for 3 weeks. All right. 3 weeks later, gets a phone call. Buyer says, "Hey, this is going to be a tough phone call. We got your results back, and your specs changed. 17% chit is the level that we got at head office, and that's going to cost you 30 grand. We're going to take a dollar a bushel discount off your contract, and apologies for this phone call. It sucks for us to make the call, and this is obviously isn't good news. And have a nice day." Maybe not in that quite in that way, but a grower obviously floored. Number one, he's got sample results from three different companies. He's done a very good job sampling, very specific. You know how it is with malt barley, folks. If you're listening, you're a malt barley grower, you take extra samples. You know how to do it, right? And so this guy, he feels very confident that his malt is not 17% chitted. Um, Now, what the farmer told me was that kind of what upset him the most was the lack of communication, and that no, there was no manager that reached out or anything like that. And this story does have a good news ending. Okay, we are going to end in a positive way. Um, but he was just a little bit frustrated at the lack of communication, and he said, I'm not accepting this discount of a dollar a bushel. This is kind of coming out of left field. I've got all my specs on my delivery tickets are all within contract. I don't know what else to say, so I'm going to make a few extra phone calls. And so the grower did phoned a few resources out there, and got a little bit of a team built to just review the scenario, and those folks went to bat for him. One of those being, in fact, the Canadian Grain Commission as well. So it's great to see that resource, that is available for farmers when it comes to this type of scenario, because it can be frustrating. It can be awkward. You already don't have a lot of businesses that you can sell grain to across the prairies, right? I'd say it's limited out there. We can argue that one, but that's my impression. And anyway, so it leads to this. How do you approach this? How can you approach this? What's the right way? Do you get mad? Do you stay calm, cool, and collected? And in this scenario, the farmer said he stayed very calm throughout all of this and wanted to get all the facts down and just know his rights. And I'm happy to report back that it worked out. There, you know, the company, the grain company, came back, honored the original grade from the delivery slips, and ended up not penalizing him for the 30K. So he kept his 30K, which is as good as it could be. But I do want I just want uh, to say that as growers, you can be put in some tough situations when it comes to grading and checks and money. It's all a little bit more high stress conversations, and it's good to ask questions. It's good to get your facts down. It's really good to stay calm, cool, and collected. Most of the time, there's times to get your blood pressure up and stuff, but in this situation, it was reaching out to some resources, reaching out to some folks that could handle some of these conversations as well. Maybe as the grower, separate yourself a little bit from the conversation, and it all ended up working out. Now, what happened? We don't know. We don't know why it went from 2.5, 3% shit up to 17%. That is still unclear. It was never really communicated on why there was such a discrepancy there. Um, and I've seen this before. I've had clients I used to consult for haul in a bunch of barley, and then a month later get a call and say, "Whoa, this actually didn't meet spec that we wanted, and here's your feed price." And at that time, the feed price was quite a bit lower at that location than at the market, in my opinion, anyway. And that one didn't work out. That was a tough one. So again, if I were to if the grain company were listening to this portion of the podcast, I'd say it's all about communication. It's all about being clear on your contracts, on what the process is, and what to expect as well. All that was told was we were going to send a sample to check the germ, and that was it. And obviously, there was more to it than that. So again, just communication certainly goes a long way. Again, good story at the end of the day. It all worked out for the farmer, and his team helped him with that. And if you have a story like this or a similar one that you'd like to talk about, reach out to me on the website or through our social medias, What the Futures podcast, obviously, and happy to talk them through and share other that farmers experience across the prairies. I know falling number sounds like that's the next one that I might have to cover here in the next little while. I know our farm experienced some issues with falling number as well here in 2023. So yeah, we'll keep talking about these scenarios. And again, this is great learning opportunities for all. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll see what we can cover off next.
All right, folks, I've got Zoltan joining me here on the podcast this week. We're going to talk some equipment in a second. If you're wondering why we're talking about equipment, head over to the website, whatthefuturespodcast.ca. and we got a spot there where you can list your used farm equipment. We have a couple of rules. Number one being we want some good stuff, good quality equipment. Number two, we want farmer to farmer interactions and transactions. So no dealerships involved, just farmers dealing with farmers. All right, so let's get into it. I've got Zoltan here. Zoltan, how's it going today?
Good, and you?
Oh, I'm doing really good. It's, I was complaining about the weather in late October with the snow on the ground, but now positive temperatures here, no snow. Farmers back out in the fields getting some work done, and it's great to see. So you've got, well, actually, before we get into the equipment, why don't you just tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and your farm?
Well, Zoltan Yarmy, we farm out near Andrew, Alberta. Farm with my dad and my two brothers. We do mixed operation cattle and grain, and we're always like everybody else. We're looking to upgrade our equipment, and something came across our desk earlier this spring, and that's why we're sitting here selling this premium hoe drill.
Perfect, awesome. Well, let's get into the details. 2013.
Yep.
Why don't you take it from there?
It's 2013 58-foot case 400 flex hoe, 10-inch spacing, 4.5-inch openers, 4.5-inch steel, 4-inch openers, 4.5-inch steel packers. It's got the heavy harrow closers on it. Single run blockage to every main hose. It doesn't have all run blockage on the edges. I believe we have blockage monitors to 5 outside seed runs. It's ISO compatible. It's got a 430 air cart on it with the deluxe auger, which is a pretty expensive option in that
Nice.
time frame.
Okay.
Yeah, that's sums her up pretty good. It's got
Awesome. And
approximately about 25,000 acres on it or so.
25.
Yeah.
Perfect. So just getting broken in. That's awesome. And how has she been for you? Growing some good crops out in
Well,
Andrew,
yeah,
Alberta?
it's been a steady horse. It's one of the good ones, but unfortunately they don't make them in that design into bigger footage, and acres are growing and we have to look at bigger feet.
Perfect. Totally understand. Now, let's see here. Did you throw a price out at us yet? What do you got for price on this one?
Nope. Well, after talking with my dad and my brothers, my dad, he's pretty adamant. He would like to. He's asking 150, but we're open to offers.
Perfect. I like that OBO back there. That always helps with the negotiation. Awesome. And I noticed in the listing that you submitted, it is going to be stored until spring.
Yes.
Inside. That's a nice little add-on, I'd say. Nice and tucked in, cozy out of the elements.
Yeah, we did our parking endeavor, and it got tucked against the wall, so she's out of the elements and will be until spring, because for us to get it out would be a challenge. But it's been shedded every year since we've had a shop. So I think that was 2015 or 2016. So it spent maybe 1 or 2 years outside, and the rest of the time it's been under roof.
Fantastic. Well, sounds mint to me. Folks, if you are interested in this piece of equipment, reach out to the podcast via the website. Again, that's whatthefuturespodcast.ca. And I will get you Zoltan's contact information and get you guys set up. So thanks for joining me, Zoltan. Great to see you again. And I'll keep you in the loop on what we hear.
Thanks for having me.
That's a wrap on episode number 3 of the What the Futures podcast. Again, I want to thank our guest. Thank you, Zoltan, for reviewing that wonderful piece of equipment. If you are interested in that, definitely reach out. We'll connect you guys. Give us a follow on social media, What the Futures podcast. Head to the website, the show. I know this one went to a lot of different areas, lots of different spots, but it was a lot of fun to put together. And just a reminder, some of this is pre-recorded, so just know that markets can change. And I'll talk to you guys all on the next Positive Friday. Have a great weekend. Talk soon.